Happy Wednesday, June 12th, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. And we have a true summertime pattern ahead with a ring of fire pattern with multiple complexes of thunderstorms that could turn severe on the northern periphery of the heat wave over the next couple of weeks, and a brutal heat wave with heat indexes over 100 degrees for many folks across the United States over the next couple of weeks. We'll be outlining the areas with the most heat and the most storm potential in today's weather forecast, and also the tropical weather update later on in the video. So if you are new here, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We do videos every single day covering southern Canada, the United States, and the tropics. Be sure to like the video, give it a thumbs up if you like today's weather forecast after the video is over. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. We'll get to those later on today. Let's look at the morning temperatures. We started off pretty mild across the middle of the country today, even up to 70 degrees into places like Omaha and Sioux Falls this morning, and we have already seen continuous heat headlines across the desert Southwest. We're in the orange, we have heat advisories. In the pinks, we have excessive heat warnings, where brutal heat is continuing across portions of the Sacramento Valley in California, down here into the desert areas of Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah. So definitely seeing that center of that ridge of high pressure down here across the Four Corners region today, and that's where all that oppressive heat will be. So here are your high temperatures this afternoon. Notice across the desert Southwest, that's where the most oppressive heat will be, with temperatures up to 106 in Phoenix, 105 in Las Vegas, and near 100 degrees in parts of the Sacramento Valley in California. Even outside of that, into the plains today, a lot of 90s up and down the plains from the Dakotas down into Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, all the way down into Texas. Even some 90s today as far north as the Twin Cities region here in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota. And you can look at the dew point temperatures. This gives you a good indication of the moisture level in the environment today. Dew points into the 60s, some low 70 dew points pooling up there into eastern South Dakota and central Minnesota and northwest Wisconsin. That means heat index values will be a touch warmer than the actual temperatures this afternoon, with those dew points into the 60s across the middle of the country. Looking at storm reports from yesterday, it wasn't a very busy day, but we did see a couple of strong storms across eastern portions of South Dakota into western Minnesota, and a couple strong storms down here in southwest Texas as well. 3 wind and hail reports for a total of 6 reports of severe weather yesterday. Thankfully, none of those were tornadoes. And we do have some severe weather, some more robust severe weather than we've seen up across this area in quite some time. We have an enhanced risk, a level 3 out of 5 on the risk scale across northeastern Minnesota and far northwest Wisconsin, into places like Duluth, in towards the International Falls area up here into Minnesota, Hayward, Wisconsin. So we see a very big area of severe weather potential, even extending down into northern Iowa, southwest Wisconsin as we go through the day here. Plenty of instability for those thunderstorms to work with. Over 2,000, even over 3,000 joules per kilogram of instability. That is moderate to strong energy levels. That's thunderstorm fuel for these storms to work with to become severe. Here's the hazards the storms could bring today: is 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, especially where you see the yellow and even especially the red shaded color up here toward the Two Harbors area, Duluth, and down toward Hayward here into Wisconsin. And we also have the threat for those 2, even 3-inch diameter hailstones. So those hen egg size hailstones, possibly even up to baseball size hail in some of these areas here in Minnesota, down into northwestern Iowa and northwestern Wisconsin, where you see these dash shaded lines. And then a few tornadoes will also be possible as a secondary risk across especially Minnesota, northwest Wisconsin, and northern Iowa. So let's look here at the storm coverage this afternoon. We already have some scattered storms moving across southeast Minnesota into western Wisconsin. These will fizzle out as they move further to the south and east into that ridge of high pressure. More storm development will be initiating from northwest Wisconsin back across south central Minnesota. Notice the coverage on this. This is a broken line of storms, so not everybody will see these, but severe weather will be possible along the leading edge of this broken line of storms. Then as we go into early Thursday morning, those will shift also to the south and east, and they will weaken as well as they move in toward Milwaukee, Chicago, and Rockford, Illinois early Thursday morning. Here are the rainfall totals through your Thursday morning commute: around a quarter, half an inch of rain, with the heaviest of thunderstorms across the upper Midwest, really across Minnesota, parts of Wisconsin, and northeast Iowa. That's where we're going to see the heaviest rainfall, up to around a half an inch at most through your Thursday morning commute. Speaking of Thursday, the ridge of high pressure is going nowhere. It's actually starting to move a little further east, but it's going to flex its muscles a little bit further east toward the lower and middle Mississippi Valley, and especially by Friday as well. So if you are seeing some cooler temperatures in the east, we're going to start to warm up out there as we go into later this week. So starting here on Thursday, high temperatures possibly pushing into the triple digits across Kansas, western Oklahoma, into the Texas Panhandle here, 90s further to the east toward the Ohio Valley and the Mississippi Valley region on Thursday. There are your dew point temperatures. We have a cold frontal boundary up here from the central Great Lakes back toward the central plains here. To the north of that, drier air, so much more comfortable into the upper Midwest. After today's storms, and to the south of that boundary, it is air you can wear. You have a tropical air mass from Chicago back here toward portions of western Illinois, toward Kansas City, all the way down toward Tulsa. Dew points in the low to middle 70s. That will make it feel oppressive out there as you step out the door. Thursday afternoon, heat index values could be over 105, possibly pushing 110, 115 here into places like Kansas. And then we go into Friday. That frontal boundary will shift a little bit further to the south, modulated by thunderstorm activity, and we'll see a little bit more of that heat pushing further south as well. Dew point temperatures again ahead of that boundary, pushing into the 70s, possibly even pooling near 80 degrees in the Ozarks region there of Missouri. So heat index values again from Oklahoma City, Wichita Falls, up there toward Tulsa, Fort Smith, even the Little Rock area, even Memphis could be pushing into the triple digits Friday afternoon with the heat index. So here's that front as we go into Thursday. Out ahead of it, we're going to be watching some heavy thunderstorms and some severe weather. The Storm Prediction Center currently has a marginal to slight risk of severe weather in the dark green and yellow shaded colors, respectively, a level 1 and level 2 out of 5 on the risk scale. And the biggest concern with this is going to be damaging winds that could be over 70 miles per hour. Also some quarter-size hail or larger at times, and maybe even a few spin-up tornadoes as well. But by far, Thursday's risk is going to be a damaging wind event. You can see we have some broken thunderstorms along a broken line, much like this afternoon, but further south across portions of the Chicagoland area back toward Peoria, Illinois, Kansas City, Kirksville, Missouri, and then that complex of storms will start to upscale growth itself in towards the Indianapolis area, Terre Haute, Indiana, maybe even as far south as Springfield, Illinois, as we go into Thursday evening. Then as we go into Friday, that complex of storms will modulate the front further to the south, which means it's going to push that outflow, the rain-cooled air further to the south, and that will set up severe weather a little bit further to the south as we go into Friday. We have a slight risk here in Nebraska, northern Kansas, and then another slight risk from the I-95 corridor, Boston, down through New York City there into eastern portions of Pennsylvania and even northern New Jersey as we go into Friday. More storms. You can see the most numerous out here in the western plains with a complex of storms here, but some scattered severe weather will be possible along that I-95 corridor Friday afternoon and Friday evening, from Boston down through New York City, the Hartford area, even into the Trenton area there into New Jersey, and then back there toward eastern portions of Pennsylvania. Here is the active weather will be as we go through the weekend. You can see going through Saturday morning on June 15th to start your Father's Day weekend. You can see the ring of fire pattern here. We got the heat to the south, and it's bone dry with that heat. Lots of sunshine, lots of high heat down across the south and southeast. To the north, we got the ring of fire pattern. That's where the jet stream is. That's where the active weather will be from the northern and central plains through the Midwest, through the Ohio Valley, and into the Northeast. And then Florida, underneath of that ridge, we'll see some very heavy rainfall. Fort Myers, Naples, all the way down to Key West there, even into the Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Daytona Beach area. A lot of these areas here in South Central Florida could be seeing double-digit rainfall totals through the weekend time frame. Speaking of Father's Day weekend, that ridge that's out west will still be there, but the strongest part of it will actually migrate further east across the southeast U.S. as we go into Father's Day weekend. So as we go into Saturday, we're still pretty warm out west, but some of that heat will spread into the southeast. And then as we go into Sunday, Father's Day, June 16th, look at all the heat out out here across the Mississippi Valley, the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, the Southeast, and even inching over here toward the Mid-Atlantic as well. So Saturday afternoon, here are your high temperatures. A little cooler to the north, that's where we have some showers and storms. South of that, that's where the heat will be on. 90s and triple digits here. Yes, very widespread triple digits possibly, into places like South Carolina, Georgia, into southern Alabama and North Florida there. You factor in the heat index, maybe a handful of degrees warmer than that across those areas with heat index over 105. Then as we go into Sunday, Father's Day, look at that heat really start to build further north and east. Lots of 90s out there from the Midwest, the Ohio Valley down to the south. Again, more triple digits into places like Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Florida as we go into Father's Day, and a handful of degrees warmer with those heat index values as that moisture really pumps in across the southeast. Right now, there are no outlooked areas for severe weather Father's Day weekend on Saturday or for Father's Day on Sunday, but there could be some severe weather to the north as we have that ring of fire pattern. Look at the jet stream orientation for Father's Day weekend here on Saturday and Sunday. You have a little bit of a dip here, a little bit of a short wave in this area of active weather in the belt of westerlies of the jet stream. And you can see that will be producing some showers and storms across the Hawkeye state of Iowa and to the Gopher state there of Minnesota as we go into Saturday. Then as we go into Sunday, Father's Day, could be some scattered showers and storms. Obviously, probably not an all-day washout, but some heavier showers and storms if you get under one of those from the upper peninsula of Michigan through Wisconsin back into the Hawkeye state of Iowa and even northern Missouri as we go into Father's Day. Father's Day weekend, here are the rainfall totals. Wisconsin back into northern Iowa, southern Minnesota, and even to portions there of eastern Nebraska, eastern South Dakota, and even back into Kansas, parts of northern Illinois. That's where the heaviest rainfall will be. Not an all weekend washout, so don't be canceling any of your outdoor plans for Father's Day weekend. Just make sure to have a radar app handy and an umbrella handy in case you do venture outdoors here across this region, as if you get under one of those storms, 1 to 2, even 3 inches of rain will be possible for the weekend. Heading into next week, after Father's Day, this is Monday, June 17th through Friday, June 21st, a ridge of high pressure is only going to get stronger across the eastern U.S. and a trough will move in across the west. So a big pattern change as we go into next week. Look at all the heat out here into not only the U.S., but southeastern Canada, into Ontario and Quebec here. It's going to start to heat up as well. And looking at early next week, these are your temperatures. Yes, that is not a trick, folks. We have temperatures to 97 in Indianapolis early next week, 93 in Chicago, and 90 in Minneapolis, St. Paul. The middle of next week, we have a little bit of a frontal boundary moving through, getting rid of some of the heat there in the upper Midwest, but it comes right back as we go into later next week. Look at that. Chicago on the lakefront, 96, 90 there in Milwaukee, 91 in Green Bay, and 93 in Grand Rapids as we go into later next week. And by the way, even 98 over here in Detroit as we go into later next week. So a lot of areas will be pushing into the 90s and triple digits as we go into next week, as a brutal heat wave is on the way across the eastern U.S. There is the ring of fire pattern, folks, where the jet stream is over top of that heat ridge. We're going to be watching for some rounds of showers and storms that could turn strong to severe as we go throughout next week. Not an all-week washout, but there definitely will be rounds of some showers and storms over the same areas. So this is on top of what we see over the next couple of days and Father's Day weekend. We're going to see even more rain across the Dakotas, into especially Minnesota there, into Wisconsin, Iowa, northern Illinois, and over here into Michigan, and then southeastern Canada into Ontario and Quebec. We could be seeing some very heavy rainfall as well. Additional rain for especially the southern portion of Florida and the east coast of Florida, and then maybe something to watch there in eastern Mexico with some very heavy rain, a tropical depression or tropical storm down there. Let's talk about that. The National Hurricane Center latest tropical weather outlook does show 2 areas of interest for a 20% chance of development. One moving over Florida with heavy rainfall now. That's moving away from the U.S. Our next area is down here into the Bay of Campeche across portions of the southwestern Gulf, and that is actually moving towards Texas, as far southern Texas, and maybe even more so into eastern Mexico. That could be bringing maybe a tropical depression with it. Probabilities here on the European ensemble guidance has this in the Bay of Campeche, a 100% chance of becoming a tropical depression through Friday, June 21st. And then as we go into the tropical storm probability, still is a medium probability there, 50, maybe even 60% chance of tropical storm formation if it's over the water long enough there through Friday, June 21st. And right now, really not seeing any hurricane potential with this. This is down to 0, but we'll keep a very close eye on that. The Eastern Pacific starting to heat up as well. We have a 20% chance of development there just south of Mexico and west of Central America over the Eastern Pacific Basin near the coast. We'll keep a close eye on that. That could also become a tropical depression or a tropical storm as we do get closer. So a lot of weather to cover here. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channels. We'll have another video forecast out for you tomorrow and the days to come to cover the heat, to cover the severe weather and the tropics. Make sure to give the video a like if you like today's weather forecast down below. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. We'll get to those later on today, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Wednesday out there.